Hey guys, so here we are with the first session of our D&D campaign, which I have entitled The Dead Mountain. We're gonna go around,
And we all gonna die.
speak to the guys. We're gonna play, and possibly die. Yeah, okay. So I'll go around in screen order. So Ed, hello.
Dude, you got my last name wrong. It's not Magnus. It's Magner or Magner, whatever.
Yeah, do you want to introduce yourself? Tell people who you are. If you stream, well, you don't stream or anything, do you? So, okay, so I'll introduce Ed for him because he's useless. Ed,
Yes,
we've been
yes.
gaming together for like 5.5 years. He's an old friend, and this will be the first time we played D&D together, though. So that'll be interesting.
First time I played D&D at all.
There you go. There you go. Then we've also got Alice. Alice, do you want to say hello?
Yeah, hi, I'm Alice. I'm the wife of Scrat. Yeah, I'm sort of known as a well-to-do hobbit on Twitch, and otherwise on Instagram and places like that, I'm White Rabbit Photography. So, hey.
Okay. We've got Ali down in the left-hand corner. Memento Moravita. Hey,
Hi.
Ali.
Yeah, I'm Ali. Like Ed, I've been gaming with Scrap for like 5 years. God. And yeah, I'm on Twitch. I'm Memento Moravita, and yeah, that's me.
Awesome. And last but certainly not least, we have Ambly in the bottom right. Hey, Ambly.
Hello, a Swedish scrub that is an Overwatch friend, I guess.
Hell yeah.
I have role played, I think, twice before, but it was a long time, so it's gonna be nice to get into the game again. Yeah.
Awesome.
I do art.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff. I do
Art
stuff.
and stuff.
Yeah. You can see Ambly's art on Instagram, which is it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Okay, so we're going to start off with Ed playing Volta, the giant Magner. So the rest of you guys, I'm going to ask you just to go quiet for a short while we start off. So Ed, I want to delve into your past to begin with.
Do it.
So we are going to start in the town of Bleak Post when you are at the small age of 4 years old. You are in the forge with your father, an orc who you have always known as a friendly hand, despite his reputation in the village as a scary orc person. You know, he's more of an artist. You know him as an artist who likes to just carry on with his blacksmithing rather than cause any trouble. But because he's in a human town, he gets quite segregated. So Ed, can you describe your character at a young age?
Dude, I have not thought about the young age, dude, so I can't really do that.
Yeah, deep end.
Indeed.
So you start with the basics: color skin, color hair.
Dude, I haven't looked into the rules at all. I'm not that prepared, I must say. But apparently, I did read. I think I'm rather human-based, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you are. As I recall, you are a half orc. Your father was an orc. Your mother was a human. Yeah. Okay. So we'll just picture an image of a young orc for now, young half orc. Your father is sort of dispensing sagely advice to you on not rushing your work, you know, and always taking your time to make sure that he's only making a plow at the moment. He's only repairing a plow for some farm use, but he's almost treating it the same as if he was making a master axe. He says he's sort of imparting this advice to you to always take your time with your work and make sure that you always get everything perfect. I'm not sure how your character would receive that advice. I mean, is he sitting patiently or trying to help out, or?
Well, I think I'm going to see my dad as my hero, so I'm going to sit there and absorb all the information he can give me.
Awesome.
Or advice, whatever.
Awesome. Okay. So you're going to after the plow's finished, you and your father walk back through town to your house. No one openly shows hostility to Frederick, your father. But similarly, no one really shows any like kinship with him. There's sort of a weird respect fear thing going on just because he's different. You get back to your house, and your mother, a town guard, Alma, has been making a stew while she's off shift for you, and you have just quite a nice evening, just sitting eating stew, with your mother and father at a young age. We're going to wind forward a little bit to when you are age 6, and you are out playing. You are playing between the houses near the city gates. I'm not sure what sort of game Volta might be playing, whether it be a sports game maybe, or something else.
Some kind of game, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. So we'll say you're playing with like some sticks or something, and another child, slightly bigger than you, comes over and pushes you. He calls you Tuskface and takes your stick. How would your character react to this?
Oh, some way.
So this kid's like just pushed you. You've stumbled over.
Well, I think I will retaliate.
You'd retaliate. Okay, so you stand up and you push him, and you easily send him flying. Your strength greatly outmatches his. And the boy sort of runs away, and the other kids around sort of they look at you with the same sort of respect but fear you see with your father. That child was a bully, but they don't want to come and approach you, but at the same time they're happy that you showed him who's boss.
Yeah.
So you're sort of a bit miffed by this and decide to wander away. You wander towards the city walls, where your mother's often on patrol, and you're quite welcome there. The guardsmen know you. They know you're a good kid. And you sort of go and sit alone. Whilst you are sitting alone, you overhear some guards being addressed by some people outside. Now, Bleak Post is quite near the wastelands. The wastelands. So in our scenario here, we have the west of the mountains and the east of the mountains. As you approach the mountains, things turn to wasteland, and you have raiders, orc bands, and those sort of things roving the mountains. And beyond the mountains, it's just known as the Badlands. It's uncharted territory. No one really knows it. Bleak Post is the last station of civility on the edge of the waste. So you have two gates, one to the west and one to the east, and people rarely come to the east gate. But in this scenario, there is someone at the east gate shouting up to the guards. They are shouting in a thick, orcish sort of. They're speaking common, but in a thick orcish accent, and they are saying, you can overhear them say, "We know you have Frederick in there. He is one of us. You must return him." And the guardsmen sort of shouting down, like, "No, there's no Frederick here. You leave us alone. There's no one here by that name. No one that we know. You have an orc in there. We know you have an orc." And you sort of, I mean, I don't know what you would do, but I imagine you would sort of try and stay out of the way.
Oh, I'm not gonna do anything about that.
Yeah, okay.
So stay out of the way. Yeah.
So the guy shouts out a warning. He tells the guardsmen that if Frederick is not returned, the town will be ransacked by his tribe. So later that day, you will be sitting and having dinner with your mother and father, and you have the opportunity to bring this up. in a break in conversation.
So my mother wasn't at the gate when I.
No, no, it wasn't your mother at the
All
moment.
right. All right. Well, I will most certainly bring it up.
Okay.
Unless my mother already heard it.
Okay. So how are you gonna speak to them about it? They probably, to bear in mind, they probably don't know that you even realize your father's that different. To be honest, it's not something they've ever breached with you.
Well, I can see he's a different man than the other men, right? So I can assume. I would do anyways.
Okay. So when you talk to them about this interaction, your mother sort of tries to relax you, and she tells you that you don't need to worry. We have strong walls, strong guard. We're all training all the time. Maybe one day you could join the guardsmen as well and help defend the town. And generally they just relax you. Your dad, however, stays very quiet, unusually quiet for him, and sort of just cleans up and goes to bed without really, wanting to talk about it. So we'll wind forward again to when you are age 8, still in Bleak Post, and this time your father is shaking you awake in the middle of the night. You sort of come around bleary-eyed. You can see fire in the windows, and your father is trying to get your attention. He's shaking you by the shoulders, and he's saying, Volta, you have to hide. Hide, Volta. Find somewhere to hide. And he's sort of half making for the door.
Well, I'm guessing I'm gonna hide.
Okay. So you have you're in bed. You have a nice, like a typical sort of child's room. You're currently just approaching teenage years. So a normal human would be quite small, but because of your orcish lineage, you are quite a lot taller. You're almost sort of the size of an average, say, 13-year-old boy. So you have a bed. You have a small wardrobe. How would you like to hide?
Well, I guess due to my size, I'm not, and due to the previous encounters, so to speak, I'm used to being alone, and I'm guessing I am used to having places to hide. So I'm guessing I'm gonna get dressed and go to one of those places.
Okay. So you get dressed and you slip out the door of your household. And there is a scene of absolute pandemonium around you. So houses are on fire. You can see sections of city wall completely like torn down. They've been pulled outwards as if they've been pulled. Probably why it didn't wake you. And orcs are spilling through a tribe of orcs with much darker skin than yours. Where yours is a pale grey from your human heritage, these orcs have quite dark, almost charcoaly black skin. Guardsmen and villagers are falling by the score. And you are slipping away to a place you know quite well. There is a hidey hole you use under one of the stairwells leading up into the walls. It's a little bit risky because there could be orcs that way, but you know that you can often go undetected there. However, you can also hear everyone in the village around you being mercilessly slaughtered. So, I mean, you're only 8 years old. You're probably, I guess, pretty confused. But what would you like to do?
Yeah. Well, due to my young age, I'm assuming I not have any training, so to speak. So I'm still gonna go and hide. I think.
Okay. So you run to hide. As you run, you see your mother down a side street. She is back to back with your father, who it took you a moment longer than normal to notice, purely because of the ferocious snarl on his face that you've never seen before. His tusks are fully bared, and he looks terrifying. The orcs surrounding them aren't trying to kill them like everyone else around. They are trying to capture them. You can see them with nets and such. And as you stop and hesitate, seeing your mother and father, your mother's eyes catch yours and they widen, and suddenly the orcs are alerted to your presence.
I say charge.
Charge in.
Yeah. I mean, the parents,
Okay,
the family goes first.
excellent. So as you run in towards the nearest orc, your mother also tries to break towards you. It breaks. Your mother and father end up breaking formation as your mum sees you and tries to move towards you, and soon orcs are between them. And in a matter of moments, the three of you are captured, and not without a few bruises and knocks along the way. You don't have a very pleasant night of this. As you are captured, you are dragged away into the wastelands with your mother and father, all of you whom are gagged, and the only comfort your father can give you is through the eyes as he sorrowfully looks towards you. He truly looks a broken man at this point. I think seeing you captured has harmed him emotionally. Your mother, however, is like a cat in a bag. She's desperately trying to break her bonds and try and free you, much to the amusement of the guards, as they call her names like Orc Lover and they, pale skin and other not very good or effective insults. They don't speak very good common, but they're trying their best to insult her as she's trying to attack them. Your mother is eventually dragged away from the pair of you, and in the distant night, you can hear her being both tortured, maybe worse, and then killed.
Dude, no.
So your father obviously he tries to break his bonds and aid you, but he has no hope. And soon you are passing Blast Town. This is the first time you notice that you are not the only boys, the only boy to be captured. Other boys have also been captured and being dragged with you, including the boy who you pushed over.
All right.
As you pass deeper into the waste, there is a town that you didn't know existed, and soon you are sold along with the other boys to a trader in people. Over the next 8 years, you are put through a harsh learning curve of learning to fight as you are pitted against other boys in the arena, often to the death. You fight until there's either your team or yourself is the only one standing. You could try not to fight, but you are very quickly dissuaded from that as you see another boy who refuses to fight mown down by a guard. He just takes his sword to him and hacks him to pieces. You're often kept in a cage. You're not fed very well, just enough to keep you strong. But this doesn't stunt your growth. By the time you're 16, you're standing at an impressive 6 foot. And you are entering the arena once more.
Let's party! Don't you dare use the word party as a verb in this shop!
Thank you for the follow. Okay, so yeah, so you're entering the arena once more.
Yeah.
Now, this is a different sort of fight. This one's got a different different feel to it. Oh, that wasn't a follow. That was a host. Thank you very much, Jones. Jones the Tall. Thank you. This has got a very different feel to it. The crowd here isn't as bloodthirsty; they're more intent, focused on you. Through the years, as you've been a gladiator, you have favoured a large hammer, which you often wield with 2 hands. In fact, actually, now you're probably pretty much approaching how you would look as an adult. Could you maybe give us a description yourself of how your character will look in this environment?
Just due to the fact that I still got no real clue about half orc will look, I can't really give you a good description. But the original character is based on, although more human. He's tall. He's strong, but due to his length, he's less beefy, if you want to call it that.
Oh, okay.
His muscular is not that big, but he's still strong.
Sort of like a lean strength to him.
Yeah, precisely. And he's I don't know this English word, but whatever. But it's I mean, you can still see his muscles, but it's not grossly big, if you should call it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you're standing in the arena. You've learnt to put on armor through the years to help protect you, and your armor has certainly turned a few blades. You are in the arena against another boy from your village. This time, it's the boy that you pushed over as a young boy. The crowd isn't as bloodthirsty as normal. They're sort of like, they look more like calculated viewers. They're all sort of like leaning forwards, and you can see people counting money between them and that sort of thing. The boy that you recognize from your village just points you quite fixedly and just sort of draws his thumb slowly across his throat as he wields a short sword and a shield. Would you like to goad him?
Go to him or go to attack me?
I mean, goad, like threaten.
I like the.
You can just run in if you want to.
No, I mean, I'm kind of going to do the Morpheus wave.
Okay.
If you get what I mean.
Oh, the bring it sort of thing.
Precisely.
Yeah. Okay, so he
just knowing that I'm going to be his upper man and just come at him, bro.
Awesome. So he snarls, takes up his sword and shield, and dashes towards you. He's swinging wildly. He's not fighting at all defensively. He's really out for blood. But you are much bigger than him still, and just like when you were a child, you soon have him on the floor. You've sort of got your one foot on his chest. You've managed to knock his sword from his hand, and he's very much at your mercy. However, now the crowd is braying for blood.
Well, crush the skull then.
With a mighty swoop, you drop your hammer into his skull, and the crowd goes wild, throwing flowers and other such things onto the court, and even the odd gold coin, which is a rare sight in this small arena out in the waste. A woman is talking to your handler on your way back to your holding cell, and your handler, Evan, he gruffly takes you aside and says, "We've had some good years, but this woman has bought you. You are no longer my property. Go with her." And he walks off, maybe a little bit sourly. I think he had a good thing going with you, and he's clearly walked away with a lot of money, so he's walking away, but he thinks maybe he's not sure if he made a good deal or not. Your new handler is a small woman named Eleanor, and she sort of like eyes you up a little bit. She's just seen you on the in the arena, so she doesn't really need to appraise you as such, but she does anyway, and sort of comments, you are much smaller, it seems, than you appear on the field.
Can you repeat that? The last bit.
You are much smaller, uh, muscularly smaller than you appeared on the field. Tall, yes, but there's not much muscular weight to you.
Well, I know how to use my body anyways. I don't need the muscles to prove it.
Excellent. She walks away, clearly expecting you to follow her.
Well, I'm guessing I'm a used slave, so used to being a slave, so I'll follow her.
Okay, brilliant. She gets on a cart and takes you away. You go south towards what she explains to you on the journey is another gladiatorial town closer to the edge of civilization. It's literally just called the Arena, where she has assembled a team of gladiators to fight in team melees, and she would like to add you to the team. You meet up with her caravan, and you are soon introduced to the other members of your team, who are
Dun, dun, dun.
who are you are first introduced to Elia, who is a female rogue. She is clearly very handy with knives, but she's very small and
Nimble,
nimble.
quick. I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, very nimble and quick. Like almost, she's human, but she could be an elf. You know, she's got a very slender frame. You are also introduced to Izaday, who is a very weedy person. You have no idea how he could possibly last in the arena at all. There's also Hiram, another male sort of rogue. He carries also a dagger, but also has a short bow on his back. And Kali, who wields a great axe, much like you wield a great hammer. Together, you approach the arena, and for the next couple of years, you have more success, and you are even paid to fight. Eleanor's much kinder than Evan was, and she doesn't give you freedom. You still stay in a holding cell every night, but she gives you gold to trade with vendors for food and the such, so that you have a bit of choice. You don't have a choice of where you can stay, but you have a choice of meals, and you have a choice of other things. Saying that, she does keep you up to a very, very strict workout schedule.
Obviously.
However, there is dissension amongst the gladiators. Despite the better treatment, some of them have known freedom before. And late one night, Isadea in particular is talking about trying to break free, trying to escape the arena and make your way west. You're very close to civilization. So he believes that if you could break out of the town and maybe get some horses, you could get away. He's addressing the whole group, and there's sort of a silence for a moment. So sort of Callie sort of stands up and says, "Yeah, I would like to know what freedom is. I've never been a free person." And Hiram and Elia sort of look at each other. They're sort of almost in it together. Those two, both being sneaky, and they're sort of saying, "Well, we could probably get us out, I think." And they turn to you to see your opinion.
Well, everybody sails, everybody goes.
Excellent.
And I'm all for going.
Excellent, excellent. So the next day you have another big match. So however, you know that after the match, the handlers and the guards tend to be celebrating, especially after a large fight. So you decide. Well, the plan put forward by Isadea is to get Hiram and Elia to pick the locks and get you out of the cell, and then make your way to the stables where you can steal horses, either as a group or individually. He's sort of looking around at the group, and no one's really disagreeing with him. And so that's sort of the plan at the moment. And he sort of holds your eye for a moment to see if you're happy with that plan.
I take that plan as a good plan.
Good plan. Excellent. So the next day you are fighting, and you are fighting trained gladiators now these days. You are now in your early 20s. You are 6'9". You are a giant of a man, and you've earned the nickname the Giant. Where the rest of your team tend to fight as a team, they've been together a little bit longer before you came along. So it's almost like a team and you, where you're a whirlwind of your own, and they sort of just leave you to your own thing. But every now and again, an arrow will fly across and pick off the odd person for you. Is a day you've learned over the last few years, despite being so weedy, he can wield the elements, and every now and again, a lightning flash or a small firebolt will be flung from his hands, and that's generally how he defends himself. Now, in this fight, there are 5 large gladiators, and they're sort of trying to single you out, like they're trying to focus you, as you are already apart from the group. So you're sort of faced with the options of moving closer to the group and trying to gain some protection from them, or just doing your normal thing of just almost going sort of not crazy. You're a very calculated fighter, but just trying to use your skill to stay ahead of the game.
Can I do a mix of the two? I try to move closer, but at the same time, I'm not gonna save from the fight, so to speak.
Okay, so so as you start to move closer to the group, you notice that where Callie would normally stand very close to Isadea, she's actually been separated out a little bit. She's maybe only 5 feet further away from him than she normally would be. But you recognize this as a potentially fatal mistake for Isadea.
Well, to his rescue then.
Okay, so as you disengage the guys fighting you and run towards Isadea, an arrow flies flies over your shoulder, and it hits him in the neck, and Isadea stumbles to the ground.
Oh no. Well, I'm still gonna go to his rescue. So.
Okay, so you run towards Isadea, and now there is a pool of blood around him. You sort of can try and cradle him if you like. How would you react to him? He's on the ground at the moment. He's sort of almost a limp body, just bleeding out on the sand.
Well, I'm guessing I'm seasoned enough so I can realize he's either gonna make it or not.
It doesn't look like he's gonna make it.
Well, then I'm gonna fight, I guess, because I still need to survive, and the rest of the team still needs to survive.
Excellent. So you turn just in time to turn a blade as it swings for your now torso as you stand up. And between the 4 of you, you take out the remaining gladiators. There's some arrow work, and your hammer certainly comes into play. Although you don't get many killing blows with it, you're more crippling people for other people to finish at this point.
Yeah.
And after the fight, you're in the holding cells again. You are now alone, and this would be the time that you would execute the plan. But you're all sort of looking at each other in a solemn sort of, do we still go through with this? You're sort of waiting for someone to lead the charge.
I would say in Isadea's memory, I would execute the plan.
So sort of one by one, they look at you and sort of nod. You've restored a little bit of their confidence. So Elia gets to work on the knot. She's found a rat bone that she's been working on to make a pick, and she's working the lock. And as it clicks open, a nearby guard is alerted, but Hiram throws a dagger, which takes the guard in the throat, and he sort of gurgles satisfactorily quietly to the ground. And you are free, the four of you, to make a break towards the town. Now, you've never explored this section of the arena properly. You've only really, like the first time you came in, you would have seen this, but since then you've very much been kept to your holding cell, so you're not really sure. But you understand which way west is, and you know to get out of the building. As you leave the building, some guards spot you from a walkway, a wall, a balustrade sort of thing. And Hiram and Elia turn with bows out to return fire, encouraging you and Callie to run on.
Yeah.
So you would.
Well, I think so. Yeah.
You'd run on.
Yeah.
Okay. So you and Callie run to the stables, and there is another guard there who Callie engages in combat. There are another 4 or 5 guards coming, and she tells you to get on a horse and flee.
No. I'm gonna go take the guards.
The 4 or 5
As I
guards
said
coming.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. So
Yes.
Ed, you turn to the
One
guards.
is left behind.
You turn to the guards, and they sort of hesitate. They see you, this 6'9" half orc. You're still covered in blood from the gladiator fight, and they all sort of slow up, sort of thing, and disengage. And Callie has killed the guard that was engaging her, and she's swinging onto a horse.
Okay.
So you have the option to run, or you can charge them.
I'm still gonna take charge because the other two might still need elder help. So.
Okay. So yeah, it's quite heroic the way that you run into these 4 now scared guards. One of them tries to turn and run. You grab another guy's skull and just slam it to the ground as you're drawing your hammer. And very quickly, you've got a practiced routine of taking out legs and smashing the skull. You know, you've been doing it for years now. It seems to work, so you don't change it too much.
Mm-hmm.
And very quickly, these guards are either badly injured or dead, and you are free to get on your horse and ride away. Callie has gone. Callie has stormed away. So you are now free to do the same, and I'm guessing you would.
You're guessing wrong because I still need the 2 rooks to be out as well. So I'm gonna go and check on them if they are alive or not.
Okay. So you are heading back the way you've came?
Yeah.
Okay, so as you head up the street...
With horses, though. With 3 horses.
With horses. Excellent.
Yes.
So as you walk back up the street, you see Hiram and Elia against a corner. Hiram is sort of buckled over his chest, and Elia is sort of trying to tend to him. He's taken an arrow to the gut. And your experience in the arena would tell you that he is going to die. But it very much seems like Elia is ignoring that experience.
Yeah.
At this point, the alarm has been raised. Guards are rushing to your location, but she's hesitant to do anything.
Well, I would say get them both on the horse and then try to ride away.
Okay, excellent. So you hop on the horse, and you head west. You stop to make camp at one point on the way. You lose the guards easily. They're more looking for people in the city rather than trying to give chase. Eleanor will probably send people after you, but at the moment your plan seems to have worked. She's unaware of what you're up to. And you have the opportunity to make camp and try and tend to Hiram.
Tend away.
Unfortunately, when you stop and try and tend to Hiram, he has died on the horse.
Yeah.
And Elia is
assumed.
Elia is ridden with grief. She's just leaning over him, sobbing.
Yeah. But I try to comfort her as good as you can.
Okay. How would you do that?
Well, a friendly hug, maybe.
Okay, so over these years, comforting people hasn't been your strong suit, and she very much just sort of pushes you away, like she doesn't want to know, and just sort of sits there crying. You sort of get away to an unrestful sleep that evening, but she hasn't moved. She's still weeping over his body, and
Yeah.
you can't pull her away.
Okay then.
It's
I think I'm gonna be able to move her if I want to.
okay. So you're gonna try and throw her over a horse or something like that.
Yeah, precisely.
So when you try and turn her like that, she draws a blade on you. She draws a knife and tells you to leave her alone. You look into her eyes, and her eyes are deep, like wells. Like she's she looks like she doesn't have much to live for right now. Like she
Okay,
looks
then.
crazy-eyed.
Yeah. Well, I leave her then, I guess. Really.
Okay.
It's not the time to be sitting around.
Okay. So you ride away, and you get to a town called New Haven. At New Haven, you meet Callie. And Callie has had an extra night here, and she informs you that she's joined the local guards. Now, you remember your mother was also a guard, and
Yeah.
that might appeal to you as something to do for a few days, and maybe you know about the honor amongst guards. They might help you against. You're in civilization now. Slavery is illegal here, so you could, either run. You're not sure that Eleanor would actually attack a place like New Haven, but if she did, it's not particularly defensible. You could add to the defenses there, and try and make your own.
Yeah, I would say team up with the guard and Kelly. I would say.
Excellent. And we're going to leave your story there for now. That's a good place to leave you. So next up, I would like to. How are you feeling after that, Ed? Are you good?
I'm good.
You're good.